Any growth in any field demands training. Without training, you cannot grow in any field, from the simplest to the most subtle. Cooking needs training. Straight away you can't cook. Playing tennis needs training. Playing an instrument needs training. Driving needs training. Any field. Same way, if you want to grow spiritual, that also needs training. Right? Without training, you cannot. Now, the most essential dimension of training is what? This is where the catch is. This is the training period. Essential, integral part of training period is what? When you are in training, right? What is the essential dimension of it?
It's guidance. A teacher is watching what you're doing.
That's okay. It's not essential. That is training. You are defining training. Abhyasa is Sanskrit word for training. All of that. Maybe you are scholar Sanskrit.
I'm not.
Concentration. Yes. India, you need concentration even after mastering. So concentration is constant. The moment you say training, we have to understand one aspect of it, training. That is a possibility of failing. Isn't it? When you are in training, what is the meaning of that? There is always a chance that you will fail, you will fall, you will make mistakes. There is a possibility of a mistake, there is a possibility of doing wrong. You will be practicing it wrongly here and there. Isn't it? Backhand. There's a wrong way you go for backhand. You will keep doing that for some time. Then the trainer will come and tell you, hey, this is not the angle in which you hold the racket. Hold it in this angle, not in this angle. If you keep it in this angle, it will go for a 6. Right. This is tennis. This is not the difference. Isn't it? So the moment we say training, that means there is possibility of failing. This is where most of the spiritual seekers make a mistake. We see someone taking up the spiritual path, they fail. They make a fault. Then we blame the entire spiritual path itself. It's exactly like seeing a tennis player learning to play tennis and then deciding about tennis game. If you want the beauty of tennis game, where you should watch, who you should watch, who's the standard. Isn't it? Nadal is a standard. Djokovic is the standard. Ishwaran playing tennis is not the standard to know about tennis. That will show how Ishwaran is good or bad. But that's not the way you decide the game. The problem is we don't understand that in the process of training, you will falter, you will make mistake. And this is where the problem is. And we don't want to make any mistake. Right? On one hand, in the training period, you are bound to make mistake. By not making mistake, can you achieve perfection? Not possible. Isn't it? Can you master without faltering, without failing? Not possible. But do you want to fail? No, I don't want to fail. So from day one, we expect. That's why when someone starts the spiritual things and they make a mistake, we pounce on them. isn't it? Or because we have kept this very far-fetched high goal of no falling at all, no mistakes at all. And the law is you will make mistakes, you will fall, you will fail. Fearing that failure, you never attempt. You don't even start your work. See? And the tragedy is we all keep the goals which are far fetched from our current position without understanding the dynamics of life. This is what we call as putting conditions to life. You put conditions. Like technically speaking, the batsman who is a 99, technically he should not get out. There is no reason for him to get out. Technically speaking. Because he should be seeing the cricket ball to the size of a football. Now, how can you miss a football? And he can't say, now foot is not moving. You're not new to the crease. You've been batting, right? But the moment he comes to 90s, what happens? Pressure. What is it, sir? I should not get out in 99. So you can get out in 78. You can get out in 20. That's okay. How the batsmen go out cursing themselves. And they get out in 99. Vis-a-vis, they get out in 20. They get out in 20, and they go, that's all. But you see a batsman getting out 99 and walking out. Bombay, I think. Yes, Bombay saw the match. Tendulkar, 97, he got out. Tendulkar. 97, I think. Yeah, beat to the match. You should see that, as though it's a... So that's putting pressure on yourself, you see. You put a condition. What is the condition? Having come to 97, I should not get out. After scoring a century, I can get out. That's not a problem. After 100, even if I get out, exact 100 I get out, that's okay, sir. But not 97, 99. Why? Why such conditions you put in life? That such conditions only tires you, drains your energy. And we think it is work that is draining you. It's not the work, remember. It's never the work. See, work will tire you physically. But once you take a rest, once you have had a good sleep, next day you are fresh. There's nothing. But you don't get fatigued in life. Now we do get fatigued, drained out. Because it's a pressure. It's like driving, It's a pressure to drive and take the car back and park without any damage. I've seen the bride's father after a wedding. What a relief. After a wedding, it's like because problem shifted now. The daughter problem shifted to that fellow now. I carried this problem for 20 years. Another 40 years, that fellow has to carry now. You feel so relieved, you see. Which means carrying that is you reach. This is the problem of all of us. You reach your goals. You achieve whatever you want to achieve in life. But you're tired by the time. By the time you achieve, you're tired. You're fatigued. After the goal is achieved, how are you going to hold yourself and live your life. We do have no idea. I want to become a millionaire. Yes, now you have become a millionaire. Now what do you have to do? Back out. Hey, you wanted to get gold medal, Olympics gold medal. You got that Olympics gold medal. And then what? Suddenly, there is nothing for them to achieve. Edmund Hillary, first fellow to climb Everest. After climbing Everest, he says, I don't know what to do in my life now, he says. There's no meaning in life. Because what was keeping me going all these years is that peak. Every time I fail, I come back, I look at the peak and say, okay, next time I will achieve, next time. Like I had something to look forward in life. Now that I have climbed, there's no more peaks in the world for me to climb now. Nothing interesting. Now you can't bring him and say, why don't you try Nandi Hills? You can't tell that, this is what we live. The one who has gone to that height, after you have achieved your goal, how your life is going to be. You got to step up. The tragedy is you are so fatigued in achieving this. So what you do now, you don't step up. You shift to something else. In fact, many places you go in the reverse gear. You see, that's what after retirement everybody starts traveling. Why? After retirement, what to do? Travel. Why do you travel? Not that you should not travel or anything, I'm saying. For what? What is the agenda? I want to see. See what? You go there and see. And then take one selfie. Post it in your Facebook. Sorry, now it's not Facebook. What is it? Instagram. Instagram story. You post. And then keep checking who are all seeing. And you see the fellow who has checked in, but he has not liked your photo. You get angry for that. That's why, I tell people, first time if a fellow goes abroad, don't go to their house for 6 months. First time. 2-3 times if they're gone, it's okay. First time if they go, they'll be extra hospitable. And they give that, mobile phone to you, or they show their laptop or iPad, they give photos. Keep scrolling. The most irritating aspect of seeing photo album, for certain, where your face is going to be. At least if you have gone to somebody's wedding, if they give their wedding album, and you ask them, can you get some water? They go inside to get water. Which is the first photograph you search for? The one group photo where you are standing, you look for that. Once you saw that, after that what? You close the album. After that, we are not interested. This is spiritual training, remember. What is it? Any training, you will falter. You will fail. It's your capacity to reach. The state of perfection is to execute action effortlessly. That's the goal. But that effortlessness can be achieved only through intense effort. Perfection can be achieved only through failing. Contradiction. Such a contradiction in life this is. Sir, effortlessness to achieve, how do you go through efforts? Rahul Dravid's cover drive is effortless. It looks like just tapping. All the fielders are standing and watching the ball going. They don't touch. How is it? Just a tap. How is it? Effortlessly they score. How they're able to play effortless? That's because of effort they had put in. So first requirement in this field is accept the possibility that you can fail. You will make mistakes. And don't get dejected by this. The fact that you have accepted this possibility, you are relieved. But that doesn't mean, yeah, sir, everybody makes mistakes, sir. Everybody is corrupt. I am also corrupt. Then you don't have a goal in life. Your ideal is perfection. But when you are not understanding this law, there is always a possibility of making an error, he says. So remember, this bhakti or this spiritual karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, all these spiritual practices. When you are engaged in the spiritual practices, what it means is you are in the training. You are a sadak. You are not a siddha. You are a trainee. When you are in training, you will make mistakes. The smartness of you is to acknowledge the mistake and get out of it. Bounce back. That capacity defines your growth, is what spirituality is all about, he says. Otherwise, you are in real trouble. That's the steps that he gives. That's what we have seen, no? Isn't it? So the path is this. You go through very many steps, stages he gives. The path of this perfection that you achieve happens through all this. So what is this? Essentially, you need to understand this bhakti as the field of effort, where you will make mistakes. And your efforts gets deteriorated. Religion deteriorates. When religion deteriorates, what it happens? It becomes a morality. Deteriorated religion is morality. Now, today we think morality is superior to religion. No. That's what Vivekananda says. Morality is a carcass, says. A dead carcass of religion is morality. What is moral? Borrowed religion. Keeps changing, you see. Morals keeps changing. There was a time once it is perfectly normal for one human being to keep another human being as a slave. Perfectly normal. Today, it is quite normal there. For generations, you can keep them as slave. Not only me, slave, sir. My generations are your slave. It's perfectly fine. Entertainment. It's allowed. Today, now obviously, of course, we are going to claim what? That is wrong. We are correct. 1,000 years, if humanity were to survive, I doubt very much. If we survive, another 1,000 years, 1,000 years later, there will be a group of people sitting in the same place saying 2023 is the dark age of humanity. Who will say that? 3023, one fellow will be sitting. There also a few people will be sitting and nodding their head. Correct, sir. Now my question is, 1000 correct, 2000 correct, or 3000 correct? For 1000, 1000 is correct. For 2000, 2000 is correct. For 3000, 3000 is correct. 2000 will never acknowledge the fact that 1000 is correct. It will not. They'll say no. You know, earlier, if somebody were to smoke, they will not give their daughter to him. He's a bad fellow. He's smoking. Today, boy and girl together smoking. Same cigarette. Sharing. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Today's, for that fellow, this is wrong, no? You see, borrowed religion. When you have not taken religion digested by you, the superficial layers of it, it becomes, that's a perfect example we see of such is Yudhishthira. Mahabharata. He is known as Dharmaputra, correct? Dharmaputra is embodiment of Dharma. He will speak high, great values, highest ethics he will speak, and pawn his wife. He will not have any problem. You see, he neither has a problem for this. He is very comfortable in this extreme. Also, he is comfortable in other extreme. That extremes are very easy. This is the problem of this ethics, morals. Without this religion being digested, if you have not digested it, it will create a split in you. And you don't recognize that split. Like you don't see as one unit. Like now, we have split ourselves into two different era period. Correct? We are not seeing ourselves as one humanity, one species. No. The species, that human beings belonging to this current modern, different from old, ancient. They are barbaric. We are, hey, who's barbaric you are saying is your grandfather. If I say your grandfather is a barbaric fellow, you will pounce on me. But if I were to say about 1000 years back, who are they? From where you have come? That's what Vedanta never had a problem when, Darwin, evolution. We are evolutes of monkeys. Vedanta says, yeah, they don't have any problem accepting that. Why? All these years we have been telling your mind is a monkey. Darwin comes and says your body also monkey. Not very difference. In fact, he is coming and aiding our us. Sanchalam Himana Krishna, he says. Fickleness. That's a monkey. So many years we have been saying, Upanishads have been saying that for so many years. Darwin recently has come and says, not only mind, body also from monkeys only we have got. It creates a split in us. Yes, that's the problem. If you have not digested religion properly, it will deteriorate to morality. And that deteriorated morality will create a split in your personality. And you will look so extreme. That's why you will find people who shift from India to abroad. Suddenly they'll become very religious. Have you seen? All these fellows. Here the fellow will not go to temple. For 20 years the fellow is living here. He doesn't go to temple. Suddenly he goes to US. There, weekends where you go? He says, oh no, I'm going for this. One of my friend, and I've been there. Hey, you just be here. I'll go and come back. I said, hey, you called me to your house. I come to your house. Where are you going? Oh, yeah, I'm going for Rudram class. He said, when I was doing those classes, when I was in school, this fellow used to laugh at me. Aire. That's how they used to call in Chennai. These fellows are useless. Say. And now that fellow looks, I feel jealous of him now. I feel inferior. My complex comes. Now that fellow looks more spiritual than me now. He looks, far more spiritual. Why? In a foreign land, suddenly you turn, than deterioration. Now we think that's great. Wow, sir. Even though they have gone there, they are keeping the culture alive. That's not keeping culture alive, man. It is a split personality. That contrast they were not able to digest. The heaviness of this side. To balance that, they come to this side. That's all it is. It is not that there is any seeking going on. That's not what is happening. It is just the idea. So he gives this steps here. What we have to understand is he's helping us to progress in the spiritual path. If you have to progress in the path, you need to put in effort. What sort of effort you have to put in? This is that Ramanuja, the Vishishtadvaita Acharya. He says bhakti, if you have to practice, you cannot practice bhakti directly. First, you have to practice these two, he says. The part of bhakti process is through karma and jnanam. So karma yoga and jnana yoga is anga for bhakti yoga, he says. As a practice, Ramanujacharya, and he is explaining that. Bhakti, he says these two parts are there, and there you progress. You get parabhakti, then parajnanam, and paramabhakti. This is the stages in which you evolve. Now, each one will give different methods, right? Now, if you come here, we will say, jnanam is the essential dimension of it. These two are not. Then we ask the question, can bhakti directly give you, can it give liberation to you? Directly, bhakti will not give liberation to you. Bhakti can give liberation, sir. There is no logical proof we have for that. You see, you can quote, he has got, devotion, through devotion, it says he got moksha, Gajendra moksha. You have heard, no? Right. Did Gajendra get moksha? Or he get relief? I suppose you all know the stories. I don't have to tell the story now to you. He is relieved from the clutches of the crocodile. That's all. That doesn't mean Gajendra is a liberated soul. That's not what is referred there. Or is it referred that? Now, even if it is referred there, it's just a story. Right? Now, to establish a particular system, you cannot give example and establish. You see, you have to give a reason. Logic has to be given. To support that logic, you can use upamana. Like in the pramanas, we have pratyaksha pramana, anumana pramana, upamana, and shabda, agama. Now, pratyaksha pramana cannot come into picture. You cannot take pratyaksha for these things. Not possible, because it's not available for perception. Right? But then you have to give anumanam. No? Logic has to be given. Now, here we say there is a logic here to claim that knowledge alone can give you liberation. Why? How? Because what brought you into the samsara itself? Okay, you experience samsara now. Correct. But what brought you into the samsara? What is the cause of the samsara? The cause of the samsara is you do not know. You are ignorant. You can say you are ignorant of God. You can say you are ignorant of yourself. But the fact is you are ignorant. So ignorance is the cause which is forcing you to live this life of samsara. Correct. If ignorance is the cause of your samsara, then solution for the samsara is going to be what? What is the opposite of ignorance? Knowledge. Now, I am ignorant of mechanical engineering. Through bhakti, can I become mechanical engineer? Or should I go and join engineering college and take mechanical engineering and study? Which one?
Study.
Hayagriva is the god of knowledge. Therefore, what I am doing, sir? Every day sitting and chanting Hayagriva mantra. And one day morning, I get up. I become a mechanical engineer. Can that happen? That will not happen. Hayagriva will not give all that. You see, that way it doesn't work. So, through devotion, through surrender, through bhakti, you cannot gain knowledge. You cannot get out of samsara. Now, here we have a logic here. Now, to claim that bhakti can give you liberation, is there any logic we have for that directly? You give examples. But examples is not going to be the solution. You have to give a proper explanation. So one way of stating is this. Another way of stating it is that. So we say bhakti is aid for gaining knowledge. Bhakti will not give knowledge directly. But can you gain knowledge without bhakti? That is also not possible. Without surrender, can you gain knowledge? That is also not possible. But will surrender give you knowledge? No. So you have to put in specific effort to gain knowledge. For you to put in that specific effort, to facilitate that effort, we have bhakti, surrender, devotion. So what is bhakti now? Now bhakti becomes the anga of jnanam. Ramanujacharya says, karma and jnanam is angam for bhakti. And he gives a reason. It's not that he has no reason. Okay. Don't think he has no logic or anything. He has a logic. Once you gain that knowledge of somebody, what will happen automatically? You start developing a liking, no? As you gain knowledge about something which is so superb. keep gaining knowledge, what will happen automatically to you is you automatically start developing a liking towards it. That liking will go on increasing day by day. As you keep moving, the liking will increase. When that liking gets so intense, that's called bhakti. What is bhakti? Bhakti is nothing but intense love towards God. Love towards God is what? Liking towards God. All very simple. Intense liking, intense love towards God. How can you love God without having knowledge of it? So knowledge becomes what now? Aid to bhakti. That's how we have these two ideas. And both of them say one thing clear. Karma is a preparation, sir. That's why the step he gives karma as this, as the first one, he says. Basic effort you put in is karma. Now, if you see bhakti directly, we have this in Bhagavata Purana. Prahalada, you know Prahalada? No? Prahalada was sent to school, 5 years old. This child goes to school. Hiranyakashipu, sends him to school. Shukracharya International School. Right? Because he is the one who is running that school. And his sons were managing that. Shukracharya is busy. He is a correspondent. Headmaster and principal, they are managing the school. So he goes to the school and he comes back, returns from school. Now you see, there are a lot of things you learn here actually. Even though he is an asura, right? Look at the sharpness of his buddhi, that fellow. I'm talking about Hiranyakashipu, not Prahalada. Hiranyakashipu. The question he asks is, what did you learn in the school? Right. Now we also send kids to school. Oh, school parana? Huh? He comes back from school. What do you ask him? Did you finish the lunch box or not? Correct? I know what you will ask. You cannot think anything more than that, Sure. Did you give answer? Yes. That's not the way to train. See, how do you, some parenting you should learn. Hiranyakashipu, asura, that fellow. He is asking the child who is coming back from school, tell me what is the most essential knowledge that you have gained in the school. Tell me that. You see, he's not asking him general question. He is asking a very pertinent question. Particular question he is asking. Right. Upanishad is the question that is actually. Unfortunately, it has come out from the mouth of an asura. Therefore, we are not treating the importance of this. But what a fascinating question. The question is asked to whom? To a kid, 5-year-old kid. 5-year-old kid is asking. Now we are saying these days kids are very intelligent. Ask a child, what is the essential teaching that you have learned today in the school? Huh? he will not even understand your question, first of all. No, unperturbed. If as though it's a matter of fact. Did you have lunch or not? Yes. Like that, Prahalada gives a reply. Effortless reply he gives. I have learnt about bhakti today, he says. I have learnt the essential dimension of bhakti, I learnt, he says. And that's where he gives him. Now Prahalada is teaching to Hiranyakashipu. This fellow is teaching him to explain about the bhakti. What do you have to do? He says, Shravanam. First thing, what you have to do? Shravanam. Listen. First step of bhakti. Baby steps in bhakti. Now, this is a very popular portion we have in Bhagavatam. It's known as Navavida Bhakti. See that Navavida, many people take it as, Nava means 9. But then there is a pun in the word. In Sanskrit, many of these words have a pun. Navavida means Nava is not only 9, it also means new, fresh, contemporary. It is the fresh, contemporary ways of practicing bhakti. Meaning, if you have to keep your devotion afresh, what do you have to do? It says there are 9 ways of keeping your devotion afresh. That's why it is called as Navavida Bhakti. 9 ways through which you keep your devotion afresh. So we sing, Navanita Chora. Navanita Chora. Chora means a stealer, the one who steals. What Krishna steals? They say he steals this Navanita. Navanita means fresh butter. Old butter you will not take. And Nandini butter you keep, Krishna Jayanti, you keep buy Nandini butter and keep. He won't even look at it. Say, fresh butter. Extract on that day morning and keep. At the time you go in to take bath and come back, it will not be there. That's Navanita Chor. This is a fresh. How do you keep your bhakti afresh? How do you sustain your bhakti? How do you keep it alive? He says, Shravanam, he says. First thing you have to do is what? Shravanam. Listen. Listen to what is the interesting part. Now, what is Shravanam, sir? Shravanam is not simply listening. Yeah. Shravanam means passionately listening. Listening with tremendous passion. A passion with which you should listen. Like they give examples of how Rama listened to Vishwamitra. How Rama listened to Vasishta. How Rama listened to Lavakusha singing Ramayana. It's an amazing story that was. This Lavakusha, they have learnt. They are living in the ashram, Valmiki ashram. And Valmiki has completed writing Ramayana. After completing the story, now his job is what? To spread it, to tell the world what to do, he says. And when he was thinking, these 2 kids enter his room. The moment he saw these 2 kids, he knew, okay, what to do now. He taught these 2 kids this entire Ramayana and told them to go around and sing. And these 2 kids started going around and started singing this Ramayana. Harikatha story. They have been telling the story. Singing story has been told. And they heard, and then the kids who have been they reached from village to village, and they come to Ayodhya. And in Ayodhya, it has become talk of the town. Two kids were singing about Rama's life. Right. So they don't know. That is a time Rama decides to perform this Ashwamedha. Ashwamedha Yajna has started. It's going on. That's a laborious one. Preparation itself will go for years. It's a very big process. So he is doing that. When that is going on, this news reaches the palace. When the news reaches the palace, Lakshmana, Bharata, everyone, Kaikeyi, Kausalya, all of them have heard already one performance. Rama has not listened yet. Okay. They listen to that, they go back. And they tell Rama, you must listen to this. And Rama says, okay, organize, I'll come. Yes. Organize. He's a king, okay? So obviously the king is here sitting in his throne, right? And these two performers, the kids were standing down, there at a distance, and started the story. And they sang and sang and sang and sang and sang. And then they are so involved in singing in the story, audience became oblivious to them. Like I've seen this M.S. Subbulakshmi singing. Unique, very peculiar lady she is. All other stage performers, this Carnatic music singers, they keep looking at the audience and sing. This lady is very peculiar. After she finishes singing, she will open her eyes. And then once she starts the next song, she will close her eyes. She must have learned from this Lavakusha. They open their eyes and see Rama sitting under their feet. The king has descended, and no one realized when he left the throne, when he descended, when he sat down with these people to listen. Nobody knew this. How it happened, when it happened. But suddenly they realized he is sitting there. Listening. How Parikshit listened to the Srimad Bhagavatam. 7 days. No breaks. No coffee break. He said, okay, have coffee. I think in the 7th canto or something. The 9th canto. 9th chapter. Where Parikshit actually asked about Krishna's life. But he started off somewhere and he started talking about all other avatars. And finally he came to Krishna avatar, and in one verse he finished Krishna avatar. All that person took birth as Krishna, and he's the one who protected you. Okay. The fellow got so annoyed, Parikshit, What nonsense is this? I waited for the 9 chapters so that you will start the story of this man. And instead of telling the story of the fellow, you're finished. He said, you must be tired. No. So have coffee and come. Tea break. We'll continue. His Parikshit said, I'm drinking Amrita of the stories. What is the point of all this? Useless that is. Continue. Don't stop. And then he starts the 10th canto. That's where Krishna's life starts. Krishna's story starts. Even though Bhagavatam is about Krishna, he comes only in the 10th chapter. He's like, after the interval, only hero enters. Like that. Entry of hero comes much later. Shravanam. In Bhakti, when they say Shravanam, they are not talking about Tattva Jnana. Katha Shravanam, not Tattva Shravanam. You see, Tattva Shravanam is boring. It is not for, interesting. That is. Katha Shravanam is very interesting. The stories are very interesting. So in the steps when Prahalada says, first step is to listen. He says, don't listen to the tattvas. That will not help you. Now connected to what Ramanujacharya said. He said, you need jnanam. Jnanam of what? How do you gain jnanam, sir? Listening only. What you have to listen? He says, gain that knowledge of. How do you gain the knowledge? Stories. Through that katha shravanam, through the glories. Listen. Shravanam. Then he says kirtanam. Very interesting. Kirtanam, he says. Naham vasami vaikunte. Nayogi hridayena. Narada asks Krishna, where to find you? Narada, don't think I am in Naham vasami vaikunte. I am not in Vaikunta. I am not in the hridaya of the yogis. Nayogi hridayena. Madbhakta yatra gayanti tatra trishtami Narada, he says. Where those people sing my name, there I am standing, he says. I am established there. Madbhakta yatra gayanti tatra trishtami Narada. If you want to locate me, where do you locate me? Na? Wherever they are singing, you'll see. That's why they say this Ramayana, wherever they do this Ramayana, they'll keep one separate seat. There'll be a seat there. Where they would have put, all this flowers and all that, and they do puja to that, and then the tradition is Hanuman's there. Wherever they sing Ramayana, Hanuman is there to listen. Someone sent me this Twitter post. This movie Adi Purush released, no? In one of one monkey entered, it seems. And they've taken the picture of that monkey and they posted it in the theater. They say Hanuman has come to see Adi Purush. Terrible movie. I said terrible is a grand one. Yes.
This Katha Shravana, this Bhagavata Purana is like in the hierarchy of the Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, it's in the lowest, right? The stories.
That is tattva. That is as a tattva jnana, as a philosophical study. When you go for philosophical study, we say this is these things. But if you are going for bhakti, Katha Shravanam alone will give bhakti. Tattva Shravanam will not give bhakti to you. How much ever you study philosophical, how much ever you listen to, Gita lectures, devotion will not come. Bhakti will not come. When you will get bhakti is only when you listen to the stories of Krishna. Bhagavad Gita will not give that. Bhagavad Gita will give jnanam. And the hierarchy we have given to establish which is the authority to decipher as a Shastra. There is a hierarchy of Shastras. Not that all Shastras have equal weightage. There's a hierarchy we have here. This is a lower one. Exactly like I have told you this earlier. Exactly like Constitution, various acts, various laws that we have in the country, and judgments. Previous judgment is also valid in the court. The various acts also valid in the court. If a judgment comes in contrast with an act, which stands? The act will stand, not the judge. You see, suppose if there is a conflict between then an act and a constitution. Constitution stands. Same way, in our system, we have the Shastras also classified into sections, grades. The constitution is the Shruti, Vedas. The Smritis were all like various acts. Usually, when they are making an act, they ensure that it is not conflicting with a constitution, isn't it? Nobody will make, enact, particular act in the assembly or in the parliament, contradicting the constitution. They will not do that. It will not get passed.
Even if they pass, the judgment will.
It will go away. It's just a question of time. If there is a conflict, now 99% there will not be conflict. There may be here and there a possibility of a conflict. Now we discuss why you need this hierarchy is to identify in the areas of conflict what to do. Because Upanishad says one, Manusmriti says something else, sir. Then which one you should take? Of course, sir, Manusmriti is a great text. Of course, it is a great text. But still, what do we do? Keep it aside. We'll accept only the Upanishads. Suppose Purana says something and the Smriti says something, then we keep the Purana aside and take what the Smriti says. Because in Purana, there is always a possibility of little bit of exaggeration, context. Because many things are contextual, many things are possibility of exaggeration. It is a must there. You see, you cannot have the stories without a bit of exaggeration. You can't take those things literally as fact. Now imagine that, what's this, Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna, if he takes a foot and places, 100 people will die under his feet. Then how he was living in the palace? Can you imagine Ravana's palace size? And he was sitting in the assembly. When they are having the discussion, much before Mantralachana, Kumbhakarna was there. After that, he goes to sleep. Halfway through sleep, he wakes, Ravana wakes him up and says, go for fight. He asks, what fight? For what? Those two human beings have come. First question he asked him, so you have not returned Sita yet, is it? Which means what? He is aware of the scenario. Hanuman came, Hanuman left. So at that time, how can you imagine that fellow size have to enter the palace and exit? Door size eduva irukum. What will be the seat? He's a huge fellow. He's a very powerful guy. There's X amount of exaggeration. You can't take it as literally the same. His hands got cut. It flew and fell. When it fell down, it killed 10,000 Vanaras. What do you understand by that? It's an exaggeration. There will be some amount of it. This is called a poetic license. In poetry, always there is a license. You cannot say poetry should not have any exaggeration, should be factual. But without any fact, they will not have exaggeration. It's not absolutely imagination. It's not like Harry Potter. It is a total imagination. It's not imaginary. There is, but then it is magnified. That's why it is called a magnifying scale. So Puranas were treated, Itihasas and Puranas were all what? They are all, little exaggeration is there. That is why we give it a lower order. That's about it. That doesn't mean that is not a Shastra. That is also a valid Shastra. When we consider that is lower, is only in the areas of conflict. When there is a conflict, we take. Now here we see, Prahalada also says Shravanam is the first step. Same thing, Yajnavalkya also says in the Upanishad. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, Shrotavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nididhyasitavyaha, he says. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. So, Shravana is used by Yajnavalkya, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Bhagavata Purana, Prahalada also says Shravanam. Now we have to inquire and find out, are they talking about same? We say no. Prahalada is talking about Katha Shravanam. Yajnavalkya is talking about Tattva Shravanam. The effect of Tattva Shravanam is different. The effect of Katha Shravanam is different. Katha Shravanam is what? More and more you learn about the glory, the beauty, the dharma of Rama, Krishna, all these great men. You will start developing something in you. What will happen in you? Automatic, sir. Automatic one is devotion. Admiration will come. That admiration will start forming into devotion. So therefore, what you have to do? Shravanam. Said. Then what you have to do, sir? Only Shravanam is enough. He says, no. You have to do Kirtanam. Next step. Why do you have to do Kirtanam? Because you may listen to many things, but it's difficult to remember all that. When it is sung as a song, it's easy to remember. That's why you'll find all these things were all in poetic form. Even the sutras were all in poetry form. There's a specific meter to it, there's a thing to it. Why? Because it's easy to remember. So constantly you have to remember God. Now how can you remember God constantly? Now, only when you convert that into singing, you can remember. Kirtanam. Otherwise it is not possible. Then what you do? Then he says you have to get on to the next step. Without Kirtanam, you should be able to remember. Kirtanam is verbally singing. Next one he says is Smaranam. Vishnu Smaranam, he says. So what you have to do now? Shravanam, Kirtanam, and then Smaranam. Smaranam is unaidedly, without external, you remember internally. Internally, you go on remembering it. That smriti you got to get. Smaranam is uninterrupted, continuous thinking. Taila dharavat avichinnat smriti santana rupa is a definition for bhakti. Like how oil falls, drops. That taila dharavat, it's like that, it should fall. Continuous, uninterrupted flow. You can't even see it is actually flowing. It will look like one beam. That's all. You see how oil falls. Like that it should be. That is the Smaranam. When you have done Shravanam, when you have done Kirtanam, when you have done this Smaranam, that will automatically express itself as Seva, service. Pada Sevanam. You serve the feet of the Lord. You see that you surrender to the feet of the Lord. In fact, in Ramayana, they say the four sons, Dasharatha had. Rama, Bharata, Lakshmana, Chatruguna. Of the 4 fellows, Rama's life is terrible. Problem. Full of problem, that fellow. Like crying. If you see that Aranyakanta, you won't feel like, why are you crying like this? Kishkinda Ganda, Hanuman literally says, hey, because Hanuman had seen Sugriva also lost his wife. So he has seen Sugriva living. Same way, now he is seeing Rama also lost his wife. Right? But this fellow, his behavior is, he says, yeah, I know you are missing, but you don't have to overact, Like Shivaji Ganesan. எல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் ஓவர் ஆக்டிங்கா இல்லை லைக் தட் Rama goes on. Lakshmana also suffers in this life. Right? Bharata, you see, Bharata also suffers. He is also a cry baby only. And he will cry, that fellow. So, Rama suffered. God, okay, Bhagavan, he suffered. The fellow who went to serve Rama also suffered, Lakshmana. Bharata, who is a Bhagavata, right, devotee of Rama, he also suffered. Chatruguna, you see, will not see a single scene in any of Ramayanas where Chatruguna dropped tears. In no Ramayana you will find. Valmiki Ramayana you take, Kamba Ramayana you take, Tulsi Ramayana you take, this Ramayana, that Ramayana, any Ramayana you take. In no Ramayana you will find Chatruguna crying in any scene. Why not? God will suffer. The one who serves God will suffer. Right? God's devotee also will suffer. But the one who is devoted to the devotee, he will not suffer. That's Ramayana. What is the story of Ramayana? That's Ramayana Tatparya. What is that? Pada Sevanam. That's Pada Sevanam. Pada Sevanam, which Pada?
Devotees.
Not God. The one who is serving the devotee of God. Now you serve God, no guarantee that you will not cry in your life, you will not be relieved from miseries in life. But you're all with me, no? The way you're all looking at me like, I'm talking suddenly I started talking Greek language.
No, Shatrugna is devotee of
Bharata. See, Lakshmana constantly stands as a shadow of Rama.
So,
Same way, Chatruguna stands as a shadow of Bharata. Chatruguna stays back. For what? To serve Bharata. So instead of serving the Lord, best thing to do is what? Serve the devotee of the Lord. You are protected. That's Pada Sevanam. This is Prahalada's statement, not my statement. I am only explaining. Pada Sevanam. Which Pada is a question? You see, Pada is which Pada? Don't ask right leg or left leg. It's not that. Then Archanam. After that, what do you do? Archana. Don't do that Pada Sevanam in your own way. There is a traditional method of doing it. There is a rules. Bhakti doesn't mean it licenses to do whatever you feel like doing. Why? Because you are in the training period. Since you are in the training period, you have to follow the rules. So there is a traditional way of doing. This is the procedure to do, sir. Now you have to go through that procedure. Right. Then he says, Dasyam. You have to have developed that attitude of Dasa, slave.
in Archana, what do you do?
Pujas, how you do, no? There is a method of doing it. For example, Bilva Archana you do to whom?
Shiva.
Shiva. Tulsi,
Krishna.
Vishnu. You don't take Tulsi and do Archana for Shivalinga. Not that Shiva is going to get annoyed. How can you do that? That's not the meaning of it. But there is a procedure. You see? So follow that procedure. That's what it means. In accordance to the tradition, you have to do. That there is a process. Archanam means that. Why he says that is because when I am having all these things, instantly we'll take a stand of what? Attitude matters. Action doesn't matter. It's my standard thing. Your wife says, I want to cook. Cherry, what is on the plate now? Nothing. You only said, no, attitude matters. I had the thought of cooking. No. Thought of cooking different. Cooking is different. Ma, cook and give. You say. So the idea we give here is this. You say, how you manage your action. So Archana you have to do. That is what Archanam is. Then he gives another step. He says, what you have to do now? The two are very interesting. Dasyam, he says, along with Dasyam, he says Sakyam. Fascinating quality. One of the most interesting dimension of bhakti tradition is, on one hand, you feel that you are a dasa. Dasa means slave, servant. Servant kuda, it's a very ordinary way. Slave is a better term. To me, that's more inspiring. Dasa means I am a slave. On one hand, one dimension, you feel that you are a slave to God. Instantly, he comes and says, next one, slavery. Yes. What's the meaning of slave?
Obey and serve.
Simply do whatever is said. You have no business to inquire any meaning to that. What is the logic of it? There's nothing doing. Whatever is given to you as an order, it is followed. Whether can I do, I cannot do, is it within my capacity, beyond my capacity, am I interested? Nothing. No sense of individuality at all. Simply execute. That's slavery. Right. Very interestingly, if he has not given the next point, that's not that's not Prahalada. Prahalada establishes his wisdom, what he has learnt. Is the essence. How do you get the essence? Is this how we get the essence? Next one he says is Sakyam, friend. See, if you are a slave, how can you have friend? Because slavery is between master and a servant. I have a slavish attitude. Only towards a master I can have a slavish attitude. Friend means what? Equal. Now, on one hand, what you have to do now, bhakti, like complex part of it is this. In devotion, why we say devotion needs training is because of these things. Archanamla is not a training. Now we take fellows, no. Archaka's training course is there, certificate course, 3 months course. They'll teach you how to perform this archana. The procedure will be taught to you. Then what you can go to the temple and keep doing it. That training is not bhakti training. That is also part of it. But the essential dimension of bhakti training comes here. Parallelly happening in you. So as dasa, you are as slave and friendship. Slavery and friendship to experience together is not a joke. You see, that's the catch part of it. Rest are all very. You can't have friendship with between unequals. The moment you have equality, friendship, there is equality established already. Maybe in the beginning, equality is achieved. After that, there is no inequality. There is no differences and all that. But perennially, there will be difference between a master and a servant. He says you should have both, he says. Why? One, if you have, you get into trouble. If you keep only friendship, gratitude will go. Right? You can't feel that gratitude. It's really equal. There's no gratitude. There's a good chance of dismissing it. Right? Taking it lightly. The chances are there. When you keep only slavery, what is the problem?
No independent thinking. There's no thinking actually. You just follow.
There's a good chance of you getting into complex, inferiority complex. You can get into inferiority complex in the name of humility. You see, the slave will appear humble, but it's not humility. It is what actually? Inferiority complex. You start developing inferiority. And if you are aspiring, bhakti is only towards liberation, freedom. From where you get freedom? The source of freedom is what? The source of freedom is owning up responsibilities. When you take up responsibility, only there is a possibility of achieving freedom in life. But today we all think responsibility as a burden on our shoulders. What is holding me back is my responsibilities. The truth is exactly opposite. So as a slave, when you are living, you will never take up that responsibility. When you are never owning up that responsibility, you will never develop that. Why? Because to own up responsibility, you need courage. Right? A slave is one who will never have the courage to own up anything. Whatever you say, sir. And we think that is surrender. That's not surrender. That is what? Not having the courage to take up responsibility. But it will appear as though it is surrender and devotion. It's not. So, Prahalada says, if you have only dasyam, no possibility of growth. If you take to offset that, he says, take up this sakya, friendship, that bhavana of friendship, where you're not seeking anything from that person. A friend, you don't expect anything out of that person. If I associate with him, what will I get? Oh, he's a very brilliant fellow. Since he is a brilliant fellow, he will definitely get into a big institution. If he gets into a big institution, he will get a big job. If he gets a big job, there's always a possibility for me to become his driver. Therefore, let me be friend with him. You see, that's not friendship at all. It's not. You don't seek to get anything from the other person. So, what is freedom? Freedom is liberation. From when you get liberated? You get liberation only when you take up responsibility. To take up responsibility, you need courage. Courage for what? My liberation is my responsibility. I will work for it. I will earn it. That attitude to get, you need this Sakhya Bhava. So with this idea of Dasyam and Sakhyam, you go for Vandana. That Anjali Mudra. You go on prostrate. With this Bhavana, you go on prostrate. In that prostration, what you are doing, Sarna, in that prostration, you do this Atmanivedan. You offer yourself. That's prostration. When you go and do this Vandana, is that pranams. This is known as Anjali Mudra. The only God you will find in this mudra is Anjaneya. Weird fellow. Weird God. To picturize him like that is amazing concept. Someone to visualize. See, God usually we go for what? You know, what is that? Abhaya Hasta or Varada Hasta. They say only either this or this. Either I'll give you Abhaya or I'll grant your boons. That God. Suddenly this God, you enter, you see him. How he is standing now? He is standing with. Now what is he doing? He is doing Anjali. To whom? To whom he is doing actually? He is facing who? Facing you, no. He is standing there and you are standing here and he is doing Anjali. To whom he is doing Anjali then? Doing towards you. You are the devotee, he is God. Now God is doing Anjali towards the devotee. No? You say, it's not matching, no? But that's the beauty of that unique. No other God was portrayed in that one particular pose. Seated pose, standing pose, dancing pose. Nataraja also dances. Krishna also dances. Hanuman also, this Ganesha also dances. Dancing pose is there for many gods actually. It's not only for Nataraja. It's there. Sleeping pose, the standing pose, sitting pose. So many gods are there in different poses actually. Yeah, Krishna also sleeping, no? You see? Sleeping pose. Padapatra Sai. What is he doing? Sleeping only. Vishnu also sleeping. Vishnu also sleeping. Ganesha also you have seen, no? Pictures. Sleeping Ganesha. You have seen? Yeah, also sleeps. Anybody can do all that. That's a big deal. Standing pose, you have enough. Sitting pose, you have enough. So only God who is standing and doing pranams to the devotees who is coming to see him. As though he says, thanks for coming and meeting me. It's amazing one. This Anjali Mudra. What he is doing? He is training you, it seems. Hanuman is training you for that. Vandana. He is training you with this. He says, how to do that? Na? This is how you do. Learn. Both hands you have to bring it together and hold. What is that now? This Jiva and this Paramatma is one and the same. It's the same thing, man. No difference. It's all same. This and this is same. Unite. This is Vandanam. This Vandanam leads to Atmanivedan. When do you get it, sir? That you get it only when you offer yourself. Liquidate your individuality. Finally, what you have to do now? Liquidate your individuality. So what you have to do now? Where you start? Shravanam you start. And then slowly move to Kirtanam. And then, what else you do? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. Yeah. Smarana you have to do. After Smarana, Archana. After Archana, practice all that, what do you do? Dasya Bhava and Sakhya Bhava. With that Dasya Bhava and Sakhya Bhava, do Vandana. Through this process of Vandana, you do Atmanived. This is the steps through which you develop bhakti. And or whatever little bhakti that you have, to keep it alive and fresh, what you have to do. All this you have to do. This is another way of studying. Now we have seen that 4 steps given by Krishna. Right? Meditate. You can't meditate, abhyasa. You can't do that, take up my work. You cannot do that, drop the fruit of action and work. This is the steps he gave. Right? Now those steps were all in the steps towards your evolution. Through that you identify. Through that you can achieve that smarana. Through that you can achieve that dhyana. You can get liberation. This is what he gives. Now what we see is, sir, if I have to have this bhakti directly, best thing is to listen to a bhakta talking about bhakti than God talking about bhakti. See, bhakta speaking about bhakti is the true bhakti, actually. God talking about bhakti, he doesn't know what is bhakti. Has he ever been a devotee? No, shut up. He will say, you have always been a God. Therefore, you don't know this. This part of it only we know. So therefore, what we do is we switch over to Prahalada, who is considered as a king of bhaktas. If you take the bhaktas list, the first fellow will put in the list, counting. Okay, give the list of bhaktas, counting. Number 1. Tongue goes, no, it is Prahalada. First bhakta. Because one avatara for that one fellow. How do you say he is a bhakta? Because all other avatars were for the Loka Sangraha, he says, no? Right. But Narasimha Avatara is for whom? At one child. For one child, one avatar. Now you can imagine what should be the caliber of that fellow. And Narada started singing the glory of Hiranyakashipu. Narada singing Hiranyakashipu glory. But Prahalada in front of him spoke the glory of Vishnu. You are not God, Dad. Real God is Vishnu, he says. What courage you must have to say that. The Devas were scared of Hiranyakashipu. Yeah. All the rishis started doing yajna in the name of Hiranyakashipu. He changed everything. Like we see in that, Aristotle, this one, Greek. This, his name? Julius Caesar. Started erecting statues. His statue is the first one, I think, to put up his own statues in the West. I don't think anyone else before him did that. I think he is the first one to do it. This side you come here, we say, oh, statue so too low. He has made an idol. All temples were changed to Hiranyakashipu. All Archana is only for Hiranyakashipu. All the temples were following that. All the rishis were whoever is doing yajna. All the yajna havis was done in the name of Hiranyakashipu only. Including Narada. Including Narada started singing the glory. Constantly he will be singing the glory of Vishnu. But during Hiranyakashipu period, what was he doing? He was singing the glory of Hiranyakashipu. That much fear of that fellow. 5-year-old boy Looking straight into his eyes, he says, Vishnu Smaranam. Constant remembrance of Vishnu is the essential aspect of education. Amazing one. What courage he must have had. Child, 5-year-old. Unbelievable. Bhakti, he says, this is the steps through which you maintained it. Which is little easy for us to do something. Then, the Gita, he gives, Dalla too much. So we switch over. You go little out and come back. Because it's not easy for us to practice. Because Krishna is speaking as Tattva Jnana. Right? It's a Tattva Jnana. Bhagavad Gita is a Tattva Jnana. So you need tremendous preparation. How do you prepare? Prahalada comes and helps us there. Says, don't worry, I'll help you. Take this. Do this 9 things. Slowly you will develop that thing. And then switch over to this. After completing Bhagavad Gita, then what you do? Then go to Upanishad. Again, same thing he will say, Shravanam. Yajnavalkya also will say, okay, now what I should do, sir? He say, Shravanam you have to do. Sir, adala pantene. I have already done that. No. That Shravanam is different. The Shravanam is different. Right. We'll see you next class. You have done up to 12, no?